The wind screamed across the mountains like something alive. I stood at the cabin window, staring into a wall of white. Snow had buried everything. The road, the trees, the world. Visibility was barely a few feet. My phone showed no signal. We were completely cut off. "The generator's dead," Lisa said behind me. Her voice sounded tight, almost fragile. I turned around. She stood in the doorway, wrapped in a thick jacket, her hair slightly messy from the wind earlier. For the first time in my life, she looked unsure of herself. That alone was unsettling. "And the temperature's dropping fast," she added. I nodded slowly, trying not to show how uneasy I felt. This was supposed to be simple. Drive up to the mountain cabin, close it for winter, leave before dark. Instead, a brutal storm had trapped us here, and things were getting worse. "I think we got another problem," I said, pointing toward the ceiling. Snowmelt dripped from a dark crack in the wood. Lisa followed my gaze. Her eyes widened. "The roof. I think part of it's giving way." She stepped closer, our shoulders brushing. I felt a small jolt run through me, something I quickly tried to ignore. Outside, the storm roared louder. Inside, the cabin grew colder. 3 hours earlier, the drive up the mountain had been peaceful. "Thanks for helping me close the cabin," Lisa said as we wound up the narrow road. "Matt would have come if he wasn't working in Seattle." "No problem," I replied. "What are friends for?" But the truth was more complicated. Matt had been my best friend since 2nd grade. Lisa was his mom. And somewhere over the years, the simple admiration of a teenager had turned into something much deeper. Something I'd never spoken about. Something I never planned to. The weather forecast had mentioned light snow. Nothing serious. But halfway through our work at the cabin, the sky darkened. Snow began falling. At first it was beautiful. Within an hour, it was terrifying. The road disappeared. The storm swallowed the mountain. "We'll wait it out," Lisa decided. The cabin had emergency supplies. It seemed like the safest option. Now, hours later, the storm had turned the cabin into a freezing trap. Nightfall. The temperature inside kept dropping. Our breath fogged in the air. We gathered blankets, candles, and whatever supplies we could find. The fireplace was locked outside in a buried shed. The water pipes had frozen. And the storm only grew louder. "We need to conserve heat," Lisa said quietly. I knew what she meant before she said it. Sharing body heat is the safest option. We sat together beneath the blankets, back to chest. At first it felt awkward, then strangely natural. The conversation started slowly. Memories about Matt, stories from our small town, childhood moments we both remembered. Somehow the tension eased, but the storm outside intensified. A loud crack echoed across the roof. Snow began falling through a broken section of ceiling. We moved into the small bedroom, the safest part of the cabin. The bed barely fit both of us, but there wasn't much choice. We lay face to face beneath the blankets. The candlelight flickered across Lisa's face. For a moment, she didn't look like my friend's mother. She just looked like Lisa. Strong, beautiful, human. "Jake," she whispered, "there's something I need to tell you." My heart pounded. "I've watched you grow into someone incredible," she said softly. And somewhere along the way, my feelings became more complicated than they should have. The candle went out. Darkness filled the room. What happened next felt inevitable. Years of unspoken emotion finally surfaced. Not reckless, not desperate, just honest. For the first time, we stopped pretending. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, warmth slowly returned. Morning. Silence woke me. The wind had stopped. Weak sunlight filtered through the cabin. Lisa was still asleep beside me. Peaceful. The storm had passed. Outside, the world was blanketed in white. Then I heard something. Engines. Snowmobiles. Rescuers. "Lisa," I called gently. She stepped into the room wrapped in a blanket. Relief crossed her face when she heard the sound. Then reality returned. "About last night," she said quietly. "It wasn't nothing," I said. She nodded slowly. "But things are complicated. Matt, my best friend, her son, the snowmobile stopped outside. Voices called to us. Help had arrived. Lisa squeezed my hands once. For now," she said softly, "this stays between us." I nodded. Some stories don't end in storms. They begin there,